And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection, your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Energy plays a crucial role as an economic driver, impacting various aspects of growth and development. Abundant, reliable, and affordable energy is essential for industrialization, economic growth, and improving living standards. We begin today's Open Connection with highlights of Pure EV's recent visit to the Northwest.
One of the big advantages we have as a province is affordable energy. And that is good news for residents of British Columbia, and it's also good news for business. We know that what's going to drive economic growth in the province is in fact our access to clean, cheap energy. And so ensuring that we continue to preserve that for British Columbians and for industry is crucial. We have had BC hydro rates that have been near flat for a number of years now. And we are the second lowest priced jurisdiction for electricity in North America, a fact that we're very proud of. We have put out a call for power too now, where we have called for 10,000 gigawatts of electricity. That's enough to power 1 million homes using wind and solar and clean energy. This is a call for power. The bids that have come back in the first call are 40% cheaper than the call for power that was done in 2015. So we're recognizing two things. One is we have to increase our ability to provide energy in the province. We have a rapidly growing province. We have businesses that are coming here. They want to operate their mines on electricity instead of on diesel. They want to use electricity for LNG instead of gas drive turbines. We got to make sure that we're able to provide that electricity, but also the electricity that people need at home as well. It's our advantage. It's a focus, and we're going to continue to ensure we're delivering that.
The Premier's just talked about our Clean Energy Action Plan. There's no one in Canada and really no time in the history of British Columbia since the 1960s that we've taken so many steps to develop clean energy projects. The projects the Premier described in the first call for power are all, by the way, majority owned by First Nations, which is a significant difference as well. So clean energy where when the profits are made, they are returned to communities where the energy is being produced, which is, I think, an extraordinary thing. We have to continue to do that. We have to look to build out clean, firm power as well. And we have to build, I think, the economy of the province. The economy requires more energy, and if it's not clean energy, then we're going to go backwards on climate change, not ahead. The President of the United States has taken action to say to clean energy companies, get out of the United States. Well, we say come here, because we think that is the response to climate change, making sure that our enormous opportunities for economic growth are founded on more clean energy in our province. The second example is what we're doing today, the lowest emission LNG in the world. Sometimes people compare LNG to coal. You don't need to compare LNG to coal. This is the best LNG in the world. Our market position, our proximity to the Asian market makes it the best LNG in the world, and it's the lowest emission LNG in the world. And that is an achievement. So we're not displacing, it's not just a question of displacing coal or other dirtier fuels. It's displacing other LNG, which has dramatically higher emissions. If you take all of the LNG projects in BC, it's less than half the average rate of emission of LNG projects around the world. So what the Haisla First Nation has done here is something exceptional. And what we have to continue to do in BC is continue to make progress, which everyone in BC, most especially First Nations, want to do, which is take action on climate change.
We had a meeting yesterday with MPs from British Columbia, and I shared with them my concern about BC not having access to this ferry funding that's available in Eastern Canada. Certainly because all these MPs are from British Columbia, they understood the issue immediately. And I had a commitment from them that they were going to take that message back to Ottawa. My hope is to be able to meet shortly with the Prime Minister to be able to talk with him about how we can ensure that BC gets not special access, not different access, just the same access based on population that other provinces get access to in terms of federal government programming. If the East has a ferry program, then the West should have a ferry program. It's not a complicated message, and one I hope to be able to deliver until we start to see some action on it from Ottawa.
Well, certainly, anytime there's a loss of life, there's concern, especially in an environment like a care home. There are always questions and concerns that might be raised about that. I would defer to police to share any information that they may have about this. It's obviously a sensitive matter, and I have confidence in IHIT and the team to ensure that the community is appropriately informed and to get to the bottom of whatever the concerns are.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Canada's first large-scale liquefied natural gas shipment has departed from LNG Canada's facility in Kitimat, destined for global markets. The first cargo was loaded on June 30th, 2025, and the facility now is operational. This marks Canada's entry into the global LNG export market. Let us return to the conversation as Premier Eby updates us on LNG Canada's Phase 2 investment decision.
Yeah, I'm going to have the opportunity to visit the LNG Canada site tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that visit. This is the largest private sector investment in Canadian history. The first shipment went to Asia very recently. It's my first chance to visit following that. And we're in conversations with the project proponents. We're very hopeful that they will make a decision to move ahead with Phase 2. We don't have final timing from them yet on that, but we are working with them on that. Of course, it's the LNG Canada project and an agreement that they entered into with the Haisla that enabled the Cedar LNG project to take place as well. The benefits that have flown from LNG Canada to communities across the north and that will flow to the province in the form of billions of dollars of contribution to provincial and national GDP are an example of why we think the federal government should be paying particular attention to projects in British Columbia, because we have the ability to help the Prime Minister transform Canada's economy and diversify our markets directly. And that project and Phase 2 are great examples of that. We have an aging population in Canada and in British Columbia particularly. This is a group that will need long-term care support. And for families that have an aging family member and they're requiring not hospital-level assistance, but more than what can be offered at home, they'll know the challenge that we're facing here in British Columbia. It's not a unique one. It's a challenge across Canada. The hard part about this is that from 2007 to 2017, there were almost no long-term care beds built in this province, which is a shocking thing. But that was a set of decisions that were made by the previous government. Since forming government, we have either replaced or built new, replaced or added more than 5,500 long-term care beds. We have to add a lot more. The Minister of Infrastructure is currently having a look at how we deliver long-term care beds to be more cost efficient. Given the huge demand that we know is out there, we have to build faster, we have to build more, and we have to build it more affordably to meet the demand that's out there. There are two challenges if we don't. One is the dignity of people who need this kind of care and making sure they get the care they need. And the other challenge is for our hospitals, for people who are in those hospital beds that we need for people who are acutely ill, be able to get them out of hospital into a more appropriate care environment. I certainly welcome the recommendations from the Seniors Advocate. We are working hard to deliver more long-term care beds for British Columbians because we know they're urgently needed. And it's projects like Cedar LNG, LNG Canada, the Highland Valley Copper Project, Tech's bringing forward the $30 billion worth of capital projects in the Northwest related to mining that will assist us in paying for this essential social infrastructure that we need across the province. Well, there's a one-word answer: yes. And And the reason for that, the simplicity of our answer is the president's conduct. Here you have an individual that is insulting and demeaning other countries, that insists that his only concern is Americans, that he will make arbitrary and extrajudicial decisions on a whim, announced through his own social media platform. If you are a government in Asia looking for reliable energy sources that you can count on, and a partner that you can count on that isn't going to suddenly cut off your access to energy, that isn't suddenly going to massively increase the tariffs on the energy or taxes on the energy that you're purchasing, then nobody would be looking at the United States right now. Canada is a reliable partner. We are a partner that can deliver affordably to Asia. We're a direct shot. You don't have to go through any canals. You don't have to worry about drought. And we are delivering the lowest carbon LNG in the world. And when you put those factors together, it means that foreign governments that are still concerned about climate change, of which there are many, are able to meet their own climate goals, are able to meet their energy demand, are able to support energy transition in their economies, and able to do so in a way that is reliable and that they can count on. Canada will win this race, and we will diversify our markets because of our Canadian values. And those are on display on this project right here at Cedar LNG.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. Canada's opioid crisis has significantly worsened in recent years. In March 2020, British Columbia was the first region in the world to implement a province-wide safer opioid supply policy, enabling individuals at high risk of overdose to obtain pharmaceutical-grade opioids at no cost, prescribed by a physician or nurse practitioner. Let us return to the conversation as EB gives us an update to the Safer Opioid Program.
We have had to take some significant steps in the province to ensure we're addressing the issue of diversion, issues of concern that were raised. Particularly, I'm here in the north of the province right now among Indigenous communities in the north to say that the approach that had previously been taken around prescribed alternatives was not working. And so we're in the process of transitioning to a witnessed regime, which means that someone has to actually watch you and you have to be under the supervision of a physician or a nurse practitioner in order to access the medications, significantly tightening the regime. We've dramatically increased treatment beds. We're working with the First Nations Health Authority. They're in the process of delivering at 3 additional treatment centers across the province. The opioid overdose crisis that we're facing in the province is devastating for so many families. And no jurisdiction has solved it yet. We're glad that deaths are finally coming down, but they're still too unacceptably high. So we're going to continue to work with public health, with people with lived experience, with the Indigenous communities, and people across the province to ensure that we are keeping people alive, getting them into treatment, and helping them rebuild their lives. And I welcome the Seniors Advocates' recommendations. These are acute issues for families, and respite care, long-term care are all crucially important. We are working on those recommendations. We'll work with the Seniors Advocate to ensure that the work that we're doing is in line with what the Seniors Advocate is hearing from the front lines, from seniors. But for example, our work around SAFER, expansion of the SAFER supports came from, in part, recommendations from the Seniors Advocate, as well as what we know that seniors need access to rental housing, and that rents continue to be challenging for many seniors. And so we'll work with the Seniors Advocate around ensuring we deliver, but we share those concerns of the Seniors Advocate, and they are priorities for our government. What we really need to do is deliver more and faster in a challenging fiscal environment, and that's the big piece that we face. Well, I've been clear with industry, and it doesn't matter which industry in the province. If you have a land-based project that you're working on, it's a mine, it's forestry projects, it's LNG, you name it, you're going to need to have agreements and partnerships with First Nations. We want to move quickly in this province. We want to ensure we're growing our economy, creating jobs, creating prosperity for British Columbians of every background. And we know the only way we can move quickly is if we move together with First Nations in this province. The days of battling it out in court, if a nation, if it's a situation where a nation feels they got to take us to court, then that's what that nation needs to do. But for us, our preference is always going to be, and this is what we communicated to industry, is sit down with the nations early. You're doing exploration, sit down before you do the exploration. Start early, build that long-term relationship. And that way, when you get to this stage, you've got a proud partner standing here. You've got a government able to expedite permits. We're all able to work together, and it actually brings down costs and increases certainty. So this is far from a one-off. This is the model. This is the future for British Columbia, and frankly, it's the present as well.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Ultimately, we're going to leave something behind that's going to benefit not only Canada, the province of British Columbia, Alberta for the production, and the country on the whole.
Overdose prevention sites are managed by health authorities in cooperation with community partners across the province. These designated spaces, which are integrated into existing social service or healthcare settings or in newly established locations, provide on-site monitoring for people at risk for overdose and allow for rapid response when overdose occurs. In this final segment of Open Connection, EB responds to Island Health's decision to close some overdose sites.
Well, these are incredibly challenging issues. We need people not to be using drugs in the doorways of stores, in people's backyards and back alleys, on sidewalks, and we need people to stay alive if they're using drugs. If they overdose, that they can quickly have that overdose reversed. It's also a way to get people contact with the medical system through these sites. There absolutely can be sites that are incompatible in terms of location with surrounding businesses and other activities. We're always willing to engage in conversation with cities to ensure that these sites are properly located. It's a challenge for us to navigate. In terms of issues of street disorder related to addiction and mental health, our work is advancing quickly with Dr. Vigo to respond to a particular group of people that have serious brain injury, as well as addiction, brain injury from repeated overdose, to get them the care and the mental health support that they need in every part of the province. And I look forward to having more to share about that in the early fall. But for the conversations with Nanaimo and Victoria, Minister of State Terry Young is working closely with both of those cities to ensure that the multiple programs we have at the provincial level are working together. Often it's a small group of people causing an outsized amount of chaos, and we can target those individuals with services and wraparound supports, and where necessary, additional police attention to ensure that we're addressing the disorder issue that's causing the concern in the community. But it does require that cooperation between the city and the province, service providers, police, prosecutors, and we're building that infrastructure, in fact, in those cities as we speak.
The answer is yes. You're talking about a change or a clarification, really, of a policy to ensure that we're not talking about specifically the Cedar LNG project, but all others, where there isn't electrification available, what approach we take. There has to be an effective plan in place to ensure that an LNG project is electrified. And so that policy was made. That policy clarification occurred a couple of months ago, and it's pretty straightforward. But this project is full steam ahead. I'm BC's Minister of Energy and Climate Solutions. We're really honored to be here today on the territory of the Haisla Nation, and I'm going to start by introducing Maureen Nice, the elected chief of the Haisla First Nation.
Thank you, Adrian. And thank you for being here in Tsamotsa today. As you can see behind us, Tsamotsa means snag beach, or the place of snags. It is a thing that we cannot get rid of. It doesn't matter how many times we cut those logs, they keep coming back. So it's well named. Thank you, Premier Eby and Minister Dix, for visiting our community today. Your ongoing support for our nation's quest for economic independence means a great deal to us, especially as we advance developments in our territory that are aligned with Haisla values. Just over a year ago, Haisla leaders and community members gathered to declare a positive final investment decision for Cedar LNG, Canada's first Indigenous majority-owned LNG facility. So that was a big day for us. It was truly a historic day for our people. This achievement is the result of our nation's firm and focused commitment to reclaiming our rightful place and securing a meaningful role in decisions that affect our lands, waters, and future. It also reflects our constitutionally protected title and rights and our stewardship responsibility to our territory. Cedar LNG is proudly the world's first Indigenous majority-owned LNG venture. Our vision from the beginning was to build a clean, responsibly managed LNG facility that advanced economic reconciliation, environmental stewardship, and energy security. We have achieved this through a historic alliance between the Haisla Nation and our corporate partners, creating long-term employment opportunities and laying the foundation for prosperity well into the future. When Indigenous communities lead projects as owners, we ensure that they are done in the most environmentally responsible way and on our terms in our territory. These projects generate the revenue we need to protect our way of life while building a better future for our people. We will continue to support developments that reflect our values, protect our culture and traditions, and contribute meaningfully to the well-being of all Canadians, especially in these turbulent times. As we look ahead, we call on the provincial government to continue walking with us, because we have shown what's possible when we work together in true partnership. Thank you for working with us to write a new chapter on how responsible development happens, not just in our territory, but across the province. Together, we will achieve our vision for a better future. The future is already coming to life. Today, we are creating our own revenue stream to invest directly in the infrastructure and services our people need to lead a healthy, fulfilling life, including the beautiful youth center that you see over beside us, which stands as a symbol of hope and opportunity. Before I conclude, I want to pay tribute to our past and present leaders and staff. Your tireless effort over generations have brought us to this moment, and your work continues to make life better for our people today and for generations to come. Wow.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.